Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now before I get started I want to mention my previous AMD 9590 video. A few of you pointed out that the CPU may have been throttling because of the usage, and it's going into a full build soon that I'll be showing you, which will give me a chance to retest it. The thing is, it's so ridiculously unstable that it needs more time than I gave it to work out any kinks, but hopefully we can solve any issues with it when we come to film that next video. Moving on though, and ever since I upgraded from Intel's Pentium G3258 a couple of years ago, I intended to go back and revisit it every year afterwards to see how it held up with a popular budget graphics card of the time. Today that time has arrived and we'll be dusting off the old girl once again, well, actually a different one, and seeing how it performs when paired with a 1050 Ti against some of the latest 2017 game releases. I chose the 1050 because it's probably as high as you want to go with this dual-core CPU that's also dual-threaded. Don't get me wrong, a dual-core is still fine and up for the job in a lot of titles, but you may start to see performance hiccups in newer games. This Haswell Pentium would have been the go-to chip for a tight budget build a few years back, and today it isn't all that common on the used market, at least here in the UK, with some selling for more than the original 2014 retail price. What made it special was its ability to be overclocked to 4 GHz and beyond, often with ease on the stock cooler. I had mine at 4.2 and it certainly put up a decent fight during its time in my system. As for the 1050 Ti, well, it's probably one of the best budget cards you could buy right now, and it's remained at a decent price since its launch, somewhat avoiding the price hikes associated with the cryptocurrency trend. Question is, if you have a G3258 in your system in 2017, can it keep up with some of the latest games as part of a modern budget build? Well, it's time to find out. Starting off with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and with 1080p resolution with the very low settings, we saw 48 FPS on average over a couple of games. The lobby at the start of the game, as well as the opening plane sequence before you jump out and enter the game itself, will be quite laggy, but once you're on the ground the game will smooth itself out and become more playable, at least with this very low preset. 720p with the same settings will return an average of around 55, not much of a difference, but some of the stutter will have been eliminated. With the latest COD, once again we set the resolution to 1080p and the game to the low settings. As you can see, it was a little problematic playing the game with the Pentium, but performance varied dependent on level. For example, this mission seemed to cause a few problems at any resolution, with constant slowdown during the action-packed scenes. This wasn't really resolution dependent either. I've seen a few Pentium G4400 videos which should perform similar to the G3258 overclocked, and it's a pretty mixed bag, but hopefully a game update will resolve things. Now let's try Dirt 4. Dirt 3 was an extremely well optimised game and I always praised it for its performance on most hardware. So can the 2017 edition of the franchise live up to its predecessor? Well, with 55 FPS it certainly can at the high settings and 1080p, though I have turned AA down here. You could expect above and beyond 60 FPS at 720p resolution, as well as if you decide to turn the settings down a little bit, but I think high gives you a nice mix of graphical fidelity and performance. Evil Within 2, and this is where we had to turn things way down to the low preset, because the game did struggle to maintain a solid 30 FPS. If you wanted to drop the resolution, that would be your best bet, but don't expect a huge performance increase. I tested this because it's quite a challenge for a lot of hardware, and the 1050 Ti will run a little better when paired with a quad-core or even hyper-threaded dual-core, but the G3258 can't quite keep up. Finally, it's Prey, a very well optimised PC game that saw an average of 57 frames per second with the medium settings. A very playable result with this aging dual core, but it definitely depends on which new games you want to play as to whether or not the G3258 is still a feasible option. It will hold back even the 1050 Ti in some scenarios, and now more than ever it benefits from an overclock which is easily achievable on cheap boards like my H81M-P33, but the lack of hyper-threading may definitely cause a problem with some current and upcoming titles. For now, you can still get away with it, but we'll have to see how it copes when we revisit it next year. Thank you for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.